Glenn Ford was a man in Louisiana who was convicted of a crime that he didn't commit. After he got convicted for that crime, he actually served 30 years behind bars, and he was supposed to be executed, but thankfully an investigation found that he was not guilty of killing a man by the name of Isidore Roseman. Now, we covered this story because one of the prosecutors in the case issued an apology to Roseman and also did his own critique of the U.S. justice system. But interestingly enough, that same prosecutor was also urging the state of Louisiana to offer restitution to this man because they took 30 years of his life away from him. Well, the update to the story is that Louisiana has decided that they will pay him no restitution.
Jesus.
According to the Huffington Post, under Louisiana law, a person is eligible for up to $25,000 a year for each year he was wrongfully incarcerated, with a lifetime cap of $250,000. I think that is a ridiculously low amount of money.
So let's talk about that. First of all, if they put you in a Louisiana prison and he was on death row, 12 by 12 cell, would you take that for $25,000 a year? Nobody would, right? I mean, there's situations where you get these huge settlements and you're like, wow, ooh, for $1 million, maybe I would go to prison. For $25,000 a year, you can make so much more than $25,000, you know, if you're out in the world, right? But they're not giving it. First of all, it's capped at $250,000. He served 30 years. So in reality, he'd be getting less than $10,000 a year for being on death row. And they say, nope, we're not even going to give you that.
It's disgusting.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
So what's the reasoning behind this? The judge is essentially saying that, all right, maybe he didn't carry out this murder, but he's not entirely innocent. Let me give you her exact statement. Judge Katherine Dorroh on Friday denied Ford compensation, saying that while Ford did not commit the murder that led to his wrongful imprisonment, he was proven to be guilty of lesser crimes and was not an innocent man. The judge said Ford knew about the plans for the robbery that led to the killing and didn't stop it. Further, he attempted to destroy evidence by pawning items taken in the robbery and tried to find buyers for the murder weapon used by men implicated in the murder. Okay, so essentially what she's saying is, look, she knew the guys who carried out the murder. Did he really know whether or not they were going to rob someone and kill them?
No.
You have no way of proving that he knew. Like, there has to be proof beyond a reasonable doubt. But let's say
that he knew they were going to kill them.
Exactly. And also, let's say you have a way of proving that he's guilty of all these things. He wouldn't have gotten a 30-year prison sentence. There's no way.
He wouldn't have been on death row. He wouldn't have been in, you know, in all the different conditions that he was in because of that sentence. It's $250,000. You robbed the guy of 30 years of his life. And by the way, I mean, look, Howard Stern used to joke, you know, in the old days when they do a story like this and be like, yeah, guilty. Like, I don't know what he's guilty of. He's not guilty of this crime, but he's guilty of something. And some people would think that that was slightly racist. Okay? And real racists, not in a non-joking environment, would say this all the time. They're guilty of something.
Yeah.
Right?
And also...
No, you're guilty. Okay, I mean, I don't mean to pull an Al Pacino here. You're out of order, right? No, but you robbed this man of 30 years of his life. It gets worse. He's got stage 4 lung cancer.
He has less
than a year to live. Give him the money. What's wrong with you? How indecent a person are you? Well, he might have known something at the time, so in his last year of life, I'm going to deny him a tiny bit of justice. We more than owe him.
And also, another thing that I want to note, he says that while he was in prison, he was not getting adequate health care. So he knew that there was something wrong with his health, but he claims that the prison guards wouldn't take his complaint seriously. And his argument is, if I wasn't behind bars and I received the proper care, then my lung cancer wouldn't have been discovered at stage 4, which is a pretty good point. And so if he has less than a year to live, he's in his 60s now, his late 60s, what do you expect him to do in order to make somewhat of a life for himself?
Even the prosecutor who prosecuted his case is saying, for God's sake, give him the money. We were wrong. We should have never done this great injustice to this man. He suffered so much. What are you doing? Give him the money. It's not going to make it up to him in any way, shape, or form, but it's at least some measure of justice. And you've denied him that in perhaps his last year of life. There's no end to the brutality of this system.